Welcome to Gmail for Beginners and Pros. For many people, email is a source of frustration and stress. And in this course, we're going to break away from that feeling with a variety of settings and tricks that will leave you, dare I say it, happy when checking your email. Finally, the words manageable and email can be used in the same sentence. Hello everyone, I'm Heather Matisse, your instructor for this course. I'm a certified Google educator and a certified Google trainer. I have spent more than 11 years in the world of learning and development, specifically focusing on EdTech tools in the higher education and corporate spaces. I'm known for finding the most efficient way to use a tool. In this course, we will begin with modules dedicated to Gmail settings that make a big difference on your day-to-day use. We'll cover undo send, hover actions, nudges, and smart features. We'll look at the magic of archiving and no more deleting of emails. We will cover the use of stars and indicators, which may be my favorite, along with inbox types and signatures. Yes, plural, signatures. Then we will spend several modules focused on getting organized to increase your productivity. This includes things like the power of labels and filters, which when combined together is magic, and the use of templates, which is also known as canned responses. We'll take a look at that as well. We'll touch on the built-in search feature, the side panel, and why you should use chat and spaces to reduce the number of emails in your inbox. So buckle up your seatbelt and let's get started. Go ahead and log into your Gmail account and meet me over in the first lesson. See you there! Hi everyone, and welcome back to our Gmail training. In this lesson, we're going to take a look at some important settings that are going to really help you improve your experience with Gmail. First, let's click on the settings gear in the top right corner. You will see some settings in this menu, and at the very top, you will see a button that says See All Settings, which we will dive into in just a bit. First, up in the menu is Apps in Gmail. You can customize these with the apps that you want on or off, such as Chat and Meet. When turned on, you will see these apps enabled on the left side of your screen. Next, we have Density. You have Default, Comfortable, and Compact. Notice the differences as we select these options. In particular, notice that the attachment that is shown in Default versus the Comfortable Density. Next is a quick access to themes. You can click View All for more options, but do be aware that when you choose some themes, it can reduce readability and therefore requires your brain to work a little bit harder to discern important emails from less important emails. Next, we have Inbox Type. We're going to dive into that in a separate lesson. Scrolling on down, we also have Reading Pane. Now, no split means you must click on an email to read it and then respond. Right of Inbox opens the email to the right, and below Inbox opens the email at the bottom. These two options do allow you to see the inbox while you read and respond to your emails. Some people find this to be a bit distracting or maybe a crowded view, while others prefer this view. Now, managing email can be overwhelming and a source of stress, so test out these settings until you find which one works best for you. Last option at the bottom is email threading, so keep this on if you want your conversations to stay grouped together. Now let's go check out all of the settings that we have here in Gmail. So when we click on See All Settings, this window appears. Along the top are several categories or tabs, and we're currently in the General tab. At the top, we have language and phone number settings. One thing you may want to change is your page size. By default, it is set to 50 emails. Just below that is the undo send. You can change the default of 5 seconds to 30 seconds to give yourself time to maybe check grammar or maybe to check the tone of your email. We're going to look at that in action in just a second. We also can set a default reply behavior. I think everyone would thank you if you choose just reply. Try to reserve reply all for important situations only. I'm not sure anyone wants more email in their inbox than necessary, right? And then we've got hover actions. These really make a huge difference in the speed at which you can get through your emails. If you made changes, let's scroll to the bottom and click Save. Let's look at undo send in action. I'm going to respond to this email here, and when I do click send, notice the box in the bottom left corner. I will have 30 seconds to click undo, and then after that point, the notification will disappear. By clicking undo, the email is reverted to a draft. Now, those hover actions we spoke about, those are indicated here on the right. Don't dismiss these. Use these. When you log in each time, go through here and archive, delete, snooze, maybe change the status of the emails, and in a matter of seconds, you can have your inbox cleaned up. Awesome. So that's it for your first look at settings, in particular 2 special features in Gmail such as undo, send, and hover actions. So meet me over in the next lesson where we talk about saying goodbye to the delete button and hello to the archive button. See you there. Hi everyone, and welcome back to our Gmail training. In this lesson, we're going to talk about the power of the archive button. You can say goodbye to that delete button. So here we are in Gmail. Let's open an email. When you have maybe read the email, responded to it, maybe you started it, maybe you added a label, marked it for later, whatever it may be. What's next? We do have a few buttons up here at the top. We have archive and we have delete. So what do? We archive it. What does that mean? Archiving an email will remove it from your primary inbox, reducing the clutter and the overwhelming feeling that email can give you. Maybe it can therefore reduce your stress and make email feel manageable for once. Yes, the word manageable associated with email. I know. This button is magic. So where do the emails go? That's the beauty of Gmail. If you use labels, which we will talk about in another lesson, you can find the emails there. If it's starred, you'll find it there as well. So this email has a GFE or Google for Education label. So let's click archive. It's no longer in my primary inbox and taking up space and clutter. And now let's go check the GFE label and voila, there's the email. But back to our inbox, it's not there. That's one less email that I need to see when I log in. Doesn't that feel like a weight lifted off of your shoulders? I told you this button is magic. Now, what if there were no labels on that email? You can click the More button and then access all mail. Another option is search, but we'll cover that in detail in another lesson. Now, we used that archive button from the open email. Another great option is to use the hover actions that we've talked about previously. Watch how fast you can use this to clean up your email. It's fantastic. Do this at the start or end of every day and your email will be, yes, manageable. Okay, so that's great and all, but we've got one more trick up our sleeve with archive. Let's go into our settings. So click on the setting gear in the top right corner and then click see all settings. We've talked about all of these settings so far, so where we left off was send and archive. Let's set this to show send and archive button on reply. Scroll to the bottom and click save. Now let's open an email. Click reply and then type in your message. Now, when we're ready to send, look at this awesome new button. It says send with the archive icon. In one single click, I can respond to this email and have it removed from my inbox so it's not taking up space. When the person responds, it will reappear in my inbox. And if I have labels or stars on this email, it will be easy to locate in those locations. Now, if I want this email to remain in my inbox or the category that it was in, I can click the send button as opposed to send and archive. I'm telling you that archive button is magic. Now that you're convinced to archive and not delete your emails, let's do a quick recap. You can use the hover actions to quickly clean up your email. From an open email, you can click the archive button along the top. If you're sending an email, you can click send an archive button when responding. And finally, from the inbox window, you can actually just select one or more emails and then select archive also along the top. Now, meet me over in the next lesson where we're going to talk about the next set of settings, such as nudges and various smart features that are built right into Gmail. See you there. Hi everyone, and welcome back to our Gmail training. In this lesson, we're going to talk about smart features that are built right into Gmail, especially the nudges, which I find extremely helpful. So here we are in Gmail. So let's jump into the settings that we've been working our way through. We left off with archiving, which is magic, right? After that, we have settings here for default text style, our images, dynamic emails. We can also turn on and off our grammar suggestions, our spelling suggestions, or autocorrect. Let's continue to scroll down. Here we have Smart Compose. Now, this is predictive writing suggestions that appear as you type. It can really help improve the speed at which you type and respond to emails. Every second counts. Those 5 seconds saved here and there add up to minutes and hours saved on your day. Now, the next setting we have below goes along with Smart Compose. Do you want Smart Compose to be personalized to your writing style? If so, turn it on, and if not, turn it off. For example, if you tend to sign off your emails with "see y'all later," it will detect your use of the word y'all and use that accordingly when it's writing suggestions. If you tend to start your emails with "hi everyone" or "good morning" or just a simple "hi," it will detect that and make that suggestion when you start an email. Again, turn this on or off to fit your preference. We'll look at it in action here shortly. Now, just below this is Conversation View, which we've touched on a little bit. It groups our email chains together so that you don't have a separate email for each response to the original email that you received. And now we have Nudges. Oh, how this one feature has saved me and many others since it was added to Gmail. You can use one, both, or none of these nudges. Gmail can remind you to reply to an email or suggest you follow up with someone who hasn't responded. Last thing we're going to touch on in this lesson is Smart Reply. That's the suggested response to an email. So turn that on or off to fit your preference. Let's scroll to the bottom, click Save, and take a look at these. Let's open up an email, and what's the first thing you see? Those are the Smart Reply suggestions that we just looked at. When turned on, they will appear just like this. If you click on one, you will enter draft mode to write your email with that suggested reply included. Let's type out a response to see Smart Compose in action. As I type, notice the first thing it suggests when I start with the letter H is my name. I clearly write that a lot, so as I type, notice the text that is being predicted. Sometimes it predicts what I was going to type. Sometimes it simply helps me add something I didn't think about adding, which is great, such as this last sentence here. If I want to use the suggestion, I can click the Tab key on my keyboard to accept that suggestion. And that's it, which is awesome. So that is your Smart feature. Now back to my inbox. On the right is an example of a nudge. Gmail is suggesting to follow up with someone who hasn't responded to an email that was sent. When you hover over the nudge, you do have the option to dismiss it. This can be a really big help, especially for those that deal with a large amount of emails on a daily basis. And that's it for this lesson. Meet me over in the next lesson where we will talk about one of my favorite underrated features, stars and indicators. See you there. Hi everyone, and welcome back to our Gmail training. In this lesson, we're going to cover 2 features of Gmail that can greatly increase your productivity. Let's jump straight in. We've been working our way through the settings, so let's start where we left off by clicking on the settings gear in the top right corner and then select See All Settings and then scroll down to Stars. Okay, now that we see the stars settings, what are these for? Think of stars like a colorful, sticky tag that you use on paper. You know, the ones where you mark places where signatures are needed, or maybe use it to mark specific pages of a book to reference later? Stars are like that, but for your email. By default, you will have the yellow star set as in use and the other set are set to not in use. So to add stars for you to use, drag and drop them up in the in use section. Personally, I like to use one colored star, the exclamation point, and then the question mark. Again, these stars are like colorful sticky tags that you use on paper. So I use the exclamation point to mark emails that are urgent, and I use the question mark on emails that I am waiting on. Maybe it's a response, or maybe I'm waiting on something else before I can respond. And I use one colorful star of my choice for a general, hey, come back and look at this email sort of tag. Another option is using different colored stars and coming up with your own personal system of actions associated with those stars. All starred emails are pulled together in one location over here. Now, as with colorful sticky tags on paper, do you leave those sticky tags there once you've maybe received the signature? Probably not. And the same is true with stars. The purpose is to remove them once the action is completed. Okay, so moving through these settings, you can enable keyboard shortcuts. You can change those buttons such as archive to be text instead of icons if you prefer. We're going to talk about signatures and vacation responder in the next lesson, so let's jump to indicators. Indicators help you discern which emails were sent to you or to you plus others, especially for those of you working on a team or if you frequently are copied in on emails that don't always require action. You definitely need this. That double arrow indicates emails that are sent to you and only you. If you find yourself ignoring these arrows, come back in here and turn it off. So let's scroll to the bottom and click Save, and let's look at these in action. First, notice the indicators. Most of these were sent to only me, and one is a group email. For stars, you can click on the blank star of an email to rotate through the stars that you've chosen. Notice how once you rotate through all of these stars, it brings it back to a blank star. So that's how you would remove a star. Okay, now this is fun. I'm going to jump over to another category and star this email. I'm going to come back to my primary inbox and look, it's there. This trick is great when I want an email to be front and center. When I'm done with it, I can unstar it and watch. It disappears from my primary inbox, reducing the clutter so that I can focus. So it lives back in the category where it was. It also has a label, so I can go find that email there as well, or I could search if I wanted to. And remember, for quick access to all starred emails, which again are like your emails, to-do list, or action items, click on Starred. Notice I only have a manageable amount at the moment, so get in the habit of unstarring when you're done with that email. Fantastic. Hopefully you'll see an increase in productivity with Gmail using these stars and watching for those indicators. In our next lesson, as I mentioned, we're going to look at signatures and vacation responders. See you there. Hi everyone, and welcome back to our Gmail training. In this lesson, we're going to cover setting up your signatures, yes, that's plural, and your vacation responder. We've been working our way through the settings, so let's start where we left off by clicking on the settings gear in the top right corner, select See All Settings, and then scroll down to the bottom. Here we are at our signatures. So first, click Create New. Give your signature a name. You can have more than one, so maybe you might want to have a general one, maybe something different when you are replying. Maybe you need something different for clients or those that are external to the company if you are using Gmail for work. Whatever it may be, pick a couple signatures to add in here. Great. Now pick a signature and type in the information to the right. Of course, you're going to include your name, but you can include other things such as your title, contact information, links to websites, whatever it may be. You do have all of the regular formatting buttons that you see when composing an email. In this case, I'm going to make my name stand out from the rest of the text. Now to the other signatures. I'm going to use all of this information, so I'm going to copy and paste it to my client or external signature. Maybe in this case, I want email recipients to see a link to book an appointment with me, so I'm going to hyperlink that in my signature. And I definitely want to stay on brand by adding the company logo, so I'll click on the image button and upload that. And of course, I may have to resize it. Repeat these steps to fill in any other signatures that would fit your needs. In my case, that would be the reply signature. Okay, next is the defaults. Set the signature you want to be the default for your new emails and which signature you would like for your replies. Another thing to set here is inserting the signature above quoted text, meaning the signature is included just after your typed message, not at the bottom of a long chain of emails. If you know, you know, or you'll know the next time you see it. Alright, now scroll to the bottom and click Save. Let's go respond to an email, and you can see the default signature that was applied. You can also click on the pin to change the signature for any email that you write, which can be very helpful. Now, selecting Manage Signatures will take you back into the settings, so let's do that. And now we're going to look at Vacation Responder. It's the last thing on our list of general settings. So you're going to be out of office. Maybe it's vacation, sickness, or any reason at all. If you're away, it's best practice to set your away message. First, set the start date. You don't have to pick an end date, and I will show you why in just a second. Next, you can set your subject. Just be careful to keep it short because the title that you put here and the title of the original email will be combined, so it could become very long. Make sure to type in your message. Now you do have an option to send this automated email to your contacts only. So you can select that here and then click Save. When the Vacation Responder is on, a yellow bar appears across the top. Now you can see the End Now button. That's why you don't have to set an end date, because you can simply click it when you do return. Again, the alternative is to set an end date, meaning at midnight on the date the Vacation Responder will automatically turn off, so you don't have to remember. Alright, great. That was signatures and Vacation Responder. Meet me over in the next lesson where we talk about inbox types. See you there. Hi everyone, and welcome back to our Gmail training. In this lesson, we're going to cover inbox types. This will be fun. Let's start by clicking the settings gear in the top right corner. As you may recall from a previous lesson, we do have the option to switch inbox types from the small menu. To really customize this, we're going to go into the full set of settings. Here's the General tab. We've covered everything here. Next is Labels, but we're going to cover that in an upcoming lesson. So let's jump to the next tab, which is Inbox. Default is up first. This type of inbox allows you to pick the tabs or categories that you want emails to be sorted by. When you open Gmail, you won't have to see all of the emails at once, which can feel like such a relief to some people. Everything that doesn't fit into a category, which is mainly the emails sent directly to you, and therefore most likely the most important emails, will show up in the Primary tab. Therefore, you can get a much more clear or focused view of your emails. Now, depending on the flow of your emails, you may change these categories to fit your needs. For example, in a personal Gmail account, you may want promotions and social categories turned on. For those using Gmail for work, updates and forums are great categories because all Google notifications such as comments, document sharing, calendar invites, and such show up in updates. And any emails that are sent to all employees or Department X will show up in forums. Again, those don't seem as important or as urgent as the emails that are going to show up in Primary, the ones that are sent directly to you. So when you log in each time, this can really help you discern where to start. Great. Now let's look at the other inbox types. So important, unread, and starred, these are really just versions of priority inbox. This helps you sort incoming emails and really personalize how you want your main screen to appear. You can select your inbox sections, which, yes, can include labels. A little sidebar here, if you end up using this inbox type and you end up loving labels when we go over it later, which you will, then make a note right now to come back and further set up your priority inbox with the use of labels. Okay, so back to priority inbox. You can decide how many emails show up in each section, and you can choose to hide a section when empty or remove it altogether. Let's click save and take a deep breath. Okay, so from the email view that was before to what you see now, it could potentially make you feel more overwhelmed with a longer list of emails to now scroll through versus the tabs that we saw before. Or you could feel quite the opposite and find that this view works better for you and feels more comfortable being able to see it all at once. Unfortunately, you cannot have both the tabs and this view at the same time. It's one or the other. Okay, so now back to our settings menu that's over here. It's important to note that in order for important first or starred first to work, you need to be actually using those two features, right? So if you're not using stars, then that won't be very helpful as part of your priority inbox setup. We just talked about stars in a previous lesson, so let's take a look at important markers. Let's go back into our inbox settings and scroll down. You can turn these on or off. Gmail analyzes emails that are coming in to predict whether it is important for you. I will say that personally for my line of work as well as my personal Gmail accounts, these important markers tend to miss the mark. So I would rather have these turned off, and then I use filters, stars, and indicators to discern and mark what truly is important without fail. Okay, so that's inbox types with Gmail. Remember to try different options until you find what works best for you. That brings us to the end of this section on Gmail settings that everyone could use. We're going to wrap this up with an exercise before moving into our next section with some of my favorite Gmail secrets. See you there. Hi everyone, for exercise 1, your task is to create at least 2 signatures. Go ahead and pause the video and take your time working through this task. When you're ready, press play to see the solution worked out. Okay, so how did you do? Let's take a look. First, click on the settings gear in the top right corner. Then select See All Settings. Scroll down to the bottom where you will find Signatures. Click Create New. Give the signature a title and click Create. In the box to the right, add your signature. Use the formatting tools to customize as needed with things such as links or maybe images. Repeat this process for a second signature. And last, make sure to scroll down to the bottom and click Save. Now, when writing an email, you will have a signature. You can click the pen icon to switch signatures whenever is needed. And that's it! How did you do? I'm sure you did great. So meet me over in the next lesson as we continue on our journey with Gmail. Hi everyone, and welcome back to our Gmail training. In this lesson, we're going to talk about a feature that is better than folders. They're called labels. Yes. Now labels are special to Gmail. Think of them like you would a label on a piece of paper. You can add multiple labels, right? You can also have different colors and different types of these labels. There is an additional hack that you can use with Gmail labels, and we're going to get to that here shortly. As with other things in Gmail, there is more than one way to create a label. Since we've been looking at our different settings, Let's go there first. So up in the top right corner, click on the settings gear and then click on See All Settings. Now remember, we've already worked our way through the General tab and we've looked at the Inbox tab, so let's navigate to the Labels tab. First, you will notice a couple of things. You already have a set of system labels and a set of categories, and you have a couple of options here such as to show those or hide those. Scroll to the bottom and you will find a section that says Labels, along with a button that says Create New Label. From this screen, when creating a new label, you can give your label a name, and you do have the option to nest labels under other labels. So for example, if you have a set of labels that could all fit under the label IT, you could do that instead of having them all separated out into a longer list of labels. A little pro tip for you, use numbers in the name of your labels. These labels will be listed in alphabetical order, so using numbers allows you to identify the order in which you want your labels listed, which is a really cool trick, right? Now, let's take a look at some of these settings that we have here. First up, you do have the ability to show or hide your labels. One of my favorite buttons to use is the Show If Unread, which means when I log into my email, a lot of my labels are actually hidden. They only become visible if I have a brand new email that is unread that has that label applied. Now, how is that possible for a label to be applied if I haven't read the email yet? The answer? Filters. Now we're going to cover that in our next lesson. And that is why it's really important for us to have our labels set up now, because combining labels and filters is where the true magic comes in. Okay, so let's go back out to our email, and over on the left, you will see your list of labels. Notice there is a plus button to create labels from here, and when you hover over a label, you will see the 3-dot menu, and if you click on that, you will see a lot of the exact same things that we just saw in our Gmail settings. One important feature to use is the ability to color your labels. Why? Who cares? Because we are going to combine this with filters to automatically apply labels before you even see that email. We're going to use this to train our brains to scan our emails quickly because we do pick up images, or in this case colored labels, much faster than we do text. So let's use that to our advantage. So if you have a label for emails, let's say from your manager, and you color it green, and then you apply a filter, you'll catch those emails within seconds of logging in. Your eyes will go straight to those emails. As we've talked about before, saving a few seconds of your time can add up to minutes and hours across those different days and weeks. Not to mention the reduction of stress and the increase in productivity that this can create, especially for those of you that are getting 50 or hundreds of emails a day. Okay, so before we move on to filters, let's go in and open up one of our emails. Beside the email subject will be the labels. If you need to apply a label, you can use the label icon along the top. Notice that you can select multiple labels, and from this window, you also have the button to create new labels or to go manage your labels in the Gmail settings. Awesome, so make sure you've got your labels set up and then meet me over in the next lesson where we combine this with filters. And later on, we're also going to use our labels to enhance our ability to search. See you there. Hi everyone, and welcome back to our Gmail training. In this lesson, we're going to explore one of Gmail's greatest features, which is filters. With filters, you can send incoming emails to a label. You can automatically archive it, star it, or forward it. Okay, so we talked about labels and how we were able to create those from both out here in our email, but also by going into our settings. So let's do the same with filters. We're going to go first into our settings by clicking on the setting gear in the top right corner and then clicking on See All Settings. In the menu along the top, click on Filters and Blocked Addresses. To begin with, you may not have any filters, but if you do, you will see those listed here with an option to edit or delete them. At the bottom, I have the ability to create new filters or import filters. Notice that when I click the Create Filter button, what appears? It looks like the search box at the very top of my screen opened up. And that's because it is the search box. Notice it says Search in the bottom right corner, and it says Create Filter as well. That means this one single box gives you the ability to search and the ability to create a filter, whichever option you are looking for. Now let's go back to our main screen, and at the top, when you click on the search bar, notice we don't see the exact same window that we just saw. So to make that window appear, click on the Options button that you see on the right of the search bar. Great. Now from here, we need to identify how we want these emails to be filtered. This is all going to depend on the type of email that you're attempting to filter. So for example, if you want to filter all of the incoming emails from your manager or supervisor, you would type in their email address in From. If you're trying to filter emails that come from anybody, but maybe it has a specific topic, such as iPads, you could write iPad in the subject, or has the words. Once you have added your criteria, click Create Filter. Notice the options that you have here. One of the most powerful things you can do is apply a label. Why? Remember, we talked about the power of using labels, especially with the use of color to train our brain to quickly and easily scan our inbox for the most important emails when we first log in. So, select a label, and then also make sure to select the very last button that says Also Apply Filter to Matching Conversations. This will apply the feature to all previous emails that you've received. Make sure there isn't anything else that you would like to select, and then click Create Filter. Alright, now let's watch this in action. So I'm going to send myself an email, and notice how I'm not going to touch anything on my screen, and as the email comes in, the label is automatically applied. The more email filters I create, the more manageable my email is going to become. Now let's go back and look at this again. Click on the Search Options button at the top of your screen. I also like to use the To box to automatically apply a label every time I email a person. Maybe it's a client, maybe it's a colleague, maybe it is my boss, whatever it may be. Another way that this can be used is if you happen to be on some form of mailing list, such as daily campus visitors, or it's the sort of colleague basketball team announcements that go out. You can set those emails to mark as read. Maybe also have it archived or apply a certain label so that you can still reference it when needed, but it's not taking up space when you log in and check your email each day. Okay, now before we jump off of here, one last thing I want to show you is that you can open an email, and in the top right corner, click the 3 dots. From this menu, select Filter Messages like these. Check to make sure that the filter is set up the way that you would like, such as who the email is coming from or what the subject is. Sometimes you may have to make adjustments. From here, continue as normal with creating your filter. Okay, so that's the wonderful feature of filters in Gmail. Prioritize and manage those incoming emails. You can automate labeling or actions, and ultimately reduce your stress. Your brain will thank you. And dare I say it, email can now be enjoyable. So meet me over in the next lesson where I show you another trick to really help you get organized with the use of templates, also known as canned responses. See you there! Hi everyone, and welcome back to our Gmail training. In this lesson, we're going to talk about templates, which is also known as canned responses. So do you work on a team that often needs to communicate maybe a specific phrase or policy to others? Or do you work in a role where you find yourself responding to frequently asked questions on repeat? Or do you find yourself sharing the same resources or the same set of information or steps to colleagues or other departments on a frequent basis? Don't waste your time writing the same email you've already written. You can use canned responses, which Gmail refers to as templates. First thing we're going to do is, I bet you guessed it, is we're going to click the settings gear in the top right corner and then click on See All Settings. From the menu along the top, we're going to select Advanced. And then we want to make sure that the templates are enabled. Side note, there are a couple other things in here that you may want to enable. So for example, if you are a person who enjoys using keyboard shortcuts, you might want to enable the ability to customize those. You also have the option to enable Auto Advanced from one email to the next. And then what I like to use is the unread message icon. Okay, great. So click Save Changes and let's get out of here. First, we're going to click Compose in the top left corner to start a new email. Click the three-dot menu and you will see Templates as an option. When you hover over the Templates menu, you will see a list of templates, if you have any. You will also see the button that says Save Draft as Template. And you also have the Delete Template button. First thing we need to do is type out the email response. Now typically that does mean that there is no greeting or no signature. Type out the sentence, the paragraph, the steps, whatever it may be that you need for this template. So for example, I'm giving someone the link to the website where they can find the resources that they are asking for. Now that I have that typed out, I can go back in and this time I can select Save Draft as Template. And then I'm going to select Save as a new template and give it a name. You can repeat that process to create as many templates as you need. Let's look at how to use the templates that we've created. I'm going to respond to this email, click the three-dot menu, click Templates, and then select the name of the template that is needed. Notice that it did insert that text where my cursor was, which is a very important thing to remember. I can add my greeting, the signature that I need, and any other kind of information that I want in here, and then I can send my email. Great, so now what if, as time goes on, the department that I work for has changed the wording for a policy, or maybe the link to the resource has changed? How do I update my templates? Let's start with a brand new blank email again, clear anything out if needed, and then insert the template that needs updating. I'm going to make any type of updates or changes, and then when I'm done, click the three-dot menu, click Templates, select Save Draft as Template, and this time you're going to select the name of that template to overwrite it. It's that simple. Great. So that is the use of templates or canned responses in Gmail. Hopefully you will find that as a great way to organize your email responses and ultimately increase your productivity. In our next lesson, we're going to take a look at search abilities within Gmail. I'll see you there. Hi everyone, and welcome back to our Gmail training. In this lesson, we're going to explore the abilities of search within Gmail. Let's jump right in. So along the top, we have the search bar. You can type directly in there just as you do on Google or maybe in your Google Drive. Notice that as I type, it is making suggestions. Also notice the filter options that are popping up, such as has attachments, or has been received within the last 7 days, or if it was sent by me. This is great and all, but there has got to be a better way. On the right side of the search bar, you can click on the options icon. Does this look familiar? I hope so. We spent a lot of time using this with filters just a few lessons ago. We've already talked about the from and the to. We also looked at the subject and has the words. What's really great with search is to combine these, so maybe you know who the email is from and you know what words were in the email. And actually, maybe you even know the words that were not in the email. You can use all of those here. So, for example, I may know that the emails between me and this person, we talk about iPads a lot, but I know that the email that I'm looking for, the email that's in question, definitely had nothing to do with iPads. So doing this is automatically going to remove a large chunk of emails and help me narrow down my search for the email in question. These options at the bottom are also great, so don't skip them. If you know a date range of when that email was received, use this section here. I suggest starting with the date on the right and then give the window of time around that date on the left. Now, my favorite button is down here, Search All Mail. When you click on it, notice the categories that you are given. As you scroll down, what do you see at the bottom? Labels! Yes, everything goes back to those labels that we've talked about earlier. So if you aren't convinced already, here's another reason to use labels. Okay, before you click search, make sure to select if the email has an attachment and if you want to ignore the chat messages. When you're ready, click search. And there you go. You will see the list of emails that fit that criteria. Isn't the power of search within Gmail fantastic? Remember, this is another reason why it's great to archive and not delete, and to use labels to organize everything. With the power of search, you'll be able to find what you're looking for. Now, speaking of that brief mention of chat, that's what we're going to look at in our next lesson. I'll see you there. Hi everyone, and welcome back to our Gmail training. In this lesson, we're going to talk about Google Chat. Wait, we've been talking about email, right? So, who wants another email in their inbox? Nobody. Who wants a way to cut back on emails in their inbox? Well, everyone. With Gmail, you can use Google's built-in chat feature to communicate with other Google users. So think of chat as a form of texting. When you text someone, you're giving them updates or asking a single or simple question, such as, "Hey, are you available at 2 for a meeting?" The other thing about texting is speed. When texting, or in this case, chatting, you can drop the formalities and the signatures, which really speeds up your ability to write and respond. You can also see when someone has read the message, and oftentimes you will receive a response to a chat faster than you will receive a response to an email. So why is that? One reason is because it feels much more instantaneous, and it automatically feels a little bit less stressful than email. Also, by adding the Gmail app to your phone or tablet, those simple chat messages appear on those mobile devices in a similar way to texting. It feels fast, it feels easy, it feels informal. Now, one common question that I get asked is, I want to reduce emails by using chat, but it seems like nobody else will use it. So what do I do? Well, the answer is use it anyway. Now, especially if you have Google Workspace for Business, or maybe it's Google Workspace for Education, and your company or institution has Google Workspace, it's just a matter of planting that seed. Once you begin using it, others will find how much they enjoy the reduction in emails and the speed at which they can receive a reply. Soon, it will spread. And if not Google Chat, at least find some form of messaging tool to help you and your team reduce emails. With Gmail, first thing we need to do is click on the settings gear in the top right corner and then select See All Settings. Next, select Chat and Meet along the top and make sure that you have Google Chat turned on. While we're here, you might want to also turn on Google Meet if that is something that you would like to use. It's Google's web conferencing platform. Click Save Changes and you'll be back in your main inbox. On the left, you will now see Chat and Spaces and possibly Google Meet on the far left navigation menu. Click on Chat and then click Start a Chat. You can begin by typing in a person's name and selecting them from the menu that appears. You can add multiple names to create a group chat, but we're going to talk about when to use that versus spaces in our next lesson. If you do have message requests, you will see those appear here, and you can go ahead and click Start Chat. From here, you can type out your message. On the left are your options to add a Google Drive file or to add a calendar invite. On the right, you have your formatting, you have emojis and GIFs. You can also upload a file, or you can begin a Google Meet. Also along the right, just beside of the message that you sent, you will see the other user's profile image appear when they have read the message. Also along the bottom, you will see if another person is typing out a response. Now to the top, Clicking on the person's name, you will see a list of other options such as marking as read, maybe pinning the conversation, turning off notifications, and more. So that's it for a brief intro to Google Chat in Gmail. In the next lesson, we're going to take a look at the difference between this and Spaces. See you there. Hi everyone, and welcome back to our Gmail training. We talked about Google Chat, and in this lesson, we're going to talk about Spaces. When you click on Spaces, you do have the ability to either create a new space or to join an existing space. This is very much ideal for teams or departments that need to collaborate. Again, going back to our chat lesson, this is a great way to streamline communication and reduce the number of emails in your inbox. Therefore, when using this as a team, it's really important to come up with a set of norms. So for example, when should this team send an email versus post a message in Spaces? If something is urgent, where does it go? If the team is going to use any kind of shorthands, such as FYI or NRN, which stands for No Reply Necessary. Is the team going to use AR for Action Required? So those types of norms. Figure that out before using Spaces so that there is a clear communication among your team members. Great, so what's the difference between a group chat and Spaces? Think of Spaces as Google's version of Slack or another team messaging tool. Spaces has a load of features that Chat does not, and is really meant for collaboration, especially when combined with Google's other tools. So let's look at that. You will see an easy ability to share Google Drive files or create directly from within the space over on the left. You can collaborate on those Google files directly from within Spaces without having to leave the screen and navigate to another tab. Now that's pretty amazing. You can also look at all the files that have been shared within that space from the tab at the top, which has come in handy more times than I can count. You can also assign Google tasks to space members. Here's a pro tip for you. Assign a due date to that task. It will appear on that person's Google Calendar, which is a game changer. Just make sure to check off those tasks as you complete them to make the most productive use of the space. And of course, just like with Chat, you can add a variety of apps and integrations and the other settings that are listed here. So one of my favorite features of Spaces is inline threading of replies. What that means is it allows smaller groups of people to continue a conversation on a specific topic. If you're the original poster, if you are mentioned, or if you happen to have replied to that thread, you will now receive notifications to any additional activity on that thread. You can also just follow threads without participating in them. Now, that means in the top right corner, you can select the threads icon to reveal new replies, mentions, or to view threads that you're following. In particular, I enjoy the ability to respond to an older message when the main discussion has really just moved on to a different topic. And that's without a disruption to the flow of the main space. All of this means that larger groups, all the way up to 8,000 members, can efficiently use Spaces to communicate and collaborate without it becoming another overwhelming or stressful location filled with information to read. Last thing about Chat and Spaces, at the very top of the screen, click where it says Active. Here you can change your status or leave it as automatic. If you want to go back to the days of away messages, click Add a Status. Here's another pro tip for you. Pick an emoji. So for example, anytime you step away for lunch, use the salad emoji. Or maybe you're stepping away for coffee, so use that. If you're in the middle of maybe recording a video, or maybe you're on the phone, use those emojis. Maybe you're busy, but you are available for emergencies, so change your status to match that. Again, this is another form of communication. If someone sees that you are away or that you're busy, instead of sending you an email that says, "Hey, can you look at XYZ?" they may wait until they see that you are available again and then chat you instead of emailing you. And you know what that means? One less email in your inbox. Awesome! Okay, So we are nearly done with our Gmail training. We've got one last awesome thing to talk about, which is the side panel. So meet me over in the next lesson. Hi everyone, and welcome back to our Gmail training. In this lesson, we're going to talk about Gmail's side panel. Okay, so let me take a guess. If you're using Gmail, then you are more than likely using other Google tools, right? Maybe. Now, up until Gmail had this recent update with the side panel, if you wanted to use another Google tool, such as Google Keep, you had to open a new tab and navigate to it. But now a lot of these tools are included in the side panel. If you don't see the side panel in the bottom right corner, you can hide or show it. Now, by default, you will see a couple of Google tools here, such as Calendar, Keep, Tasks, and Contacts. At the bottom, you have a button to add more apps from the Google Workspace Marketplace. So, for example, the other Google tools that you may want to add could be Google Voice or Google Maps. Maybe you want to add other apps, such as Zoom or Slack. There really is a variety of tools that you could add here. No matter which tool you have, the key here is that it allows you to have a side-by-side view of Gmail and that tool at the same time, without having to open a new tab in your browser. Now, this ultimately increases your productivity by not having to switch between tabs. And here's another great thing about this side panel. It's not just for Gmail. You will also see the side panel in Calendar, Drive, or Google Docs, Sheets, and Slides. Fantastic. Meet me over in the next lesson for a quick exercise to check your understanding. Hi everyone. For exercise 2, your task is to create at least one colored label and apply one filter that utilizes that label. Pause the video and take your time working through this task. When you're ready, press play to see the solution worked out. Okay, so how did you do? Let's take a look. First, you're going to click the plus button on the right to create a new label, give it a name, and then click Create. Hover over the label to click the three-dot menu and select a label color. Now click the Options button on the search bar. Add your filter criteria. For example, I'm going to filter emails that mention the word Chromebooks, and then click Create Filter and set your actions. Make sure one action is to apply the appropriate label. And don't forget that button at the bottom to apply to existing matches. Make sure you double check everything here and then click Create Filter. And that's it. How did you do? I'm sure you did great. Meet me over in the next lesson, or we will wrap up and review the Gmail journey that you have been on. See you there. Hi everyone, you have made it. Congratulations on making it through all of the modules and exercises. What a journey it has been. Take a moment to think back to where you started and where you are now with all of the Gmail tricks under your belt. In this course, you learned about a variety of general settings such as undo send and those quick and easy hover actions. Don't forget to click that archive button. You can now say goodbye to delete. To help increase productivity, we looked at nudges and smart features that are built into Gmail. We also looked at the use of stars and indicators to help you work your way through a full inbox. Speaking of which, we talked about those inbox types. I really hope you'll find one that works best for you. Last thing under general settings that we looked at was signatures, and yes, that was plural, right? Then for the second half of the training, we focused on all of the tricks to help you get organized. This included things such as labels that have numbers and colors, right? Along with the use of filters, and what a combo those two are. We then looked at templates, search, and messaging with chat and spaces. To wrap it all up, we took a quick look at the side panel that you'll find in Gmail as well as other Google tools. So, can you believe it? You did such an amazing job. Once again, my name is Heather Matisse. I'm so happy to have been your instructor. Thank you for being on this journey with me, and I hope you'll find your email manageable now, and yes, I'll say it again, enjoyable. Congratulations.